Oh boy, do I have a story for you. Okay, so I was recently asked in the comments down below, what's my craziest Uber slash Lyft story? For those of you who have been watching for a while, I lived in the Philippines for 3 years, lived and worked there, and my primary mode of transportation was as a client getting from A to B, just sort of doing that via Lyft, via Uber, and then their Lyft-esque thing called Grab. But when I moved back here to the States, I sort of became a Lyft slash Uber driver, and yeah, I got stories. This should be fairly obvious, but in case it's not, I'm not going to be giving anybody's real name or anything like that, because I don't like being sued. Now that we got that out of the way, let's jump right into the story. So I am in an area near me in downtown Huntsville was where it was, and I was just driving along in my automobile, not thinking a thing of anything, when all of a sudden I received that noise that all Uber drivers and Lyft drivers have come to know and love. Yes, I had a ride! And it was only about 3 minutes between me and my pickup. I'm like, yes, score! So I go and I pick up these two gentlemen who I was under the impression that maybe, just maybe, they were a couple of hipsters. They just kind of fit the build. No reason to think otherwise. So I greet these two gentlemen, and I thought it was a little bit odd that, on the thing, instead of like a first name, because usually it's all like, you are picking up John, or you are picking up Brittany. No, this was a last name. We'll, for the sake of this video, say it was Tompkins. So I pull up to where I'm picking these gentlemen up, and in classic, hipster, form, one of them has a guitar with them, which I'm like, okay, whatever. So we get into the car, or they get into the car, and I'm all like, so you're, Tompkins, right? And one dude's like, yeah, that's me, but the app is on his phone. Okay. So at this point, we have Mr. Tompkins and random other dude, I don't know who the hell he is. So he's like, yeah, so I gotta go pick up some money from my dad. Cool. So I went and I moved the little bar across, because on Uber, they make you accept or whatever, you slide. You don't just tap the thing, you slide. So I slid the thing, and I realized I am driving from what is essentially downtown Huntsville, Alabama, USA, all the way to, actually, probably funnier if I say way up in Decatur, Decatur, Alabama, which is about 45 minutes worth of driving-ish, depending on traffic and routes and all that stuff. So, okay, fine, and I follow the GPS, and it takes me down 2 major highways, one of which being I-65, and then we finally get there. Now, the entire time, they're basically, as about 5 minutes after dude gets in the car, he's like, sorry if we're not talking much, we're just tired. Now, that's a little bit odd, because I picked these guys up at, I don't know, 1:30 p.m. But I figured, you know what? Here are two dudes with a guitar. Maybe they just got done playing a gig, whatever. Fine. So we get all the way to dude's dad's house. And this is a house. I can't even describe this house. This house sits on a large piece of property. In order to get to the house, we had to get onto a driveway, which led off to yet another driveway, with a roundabout in the middle. This had to be a several million-dollar house. And so I'm kind of just staring around like, wow, okay, this is not what I was expecting. So, at this point, we stop the car, and dude's like, I want you to take me back to where you picked me up from. Now, it wasn't on the app. There was no, it wasn't presented as a multi-point trip. But us Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, whatever, we get paid for whatever we drive. And I didn't have a ride back. And I knew getting a ride from where I was, 45 minutes away, back to where I wanted to go, was going to be damn near impossible. So I agreed. I'm like, fine, I'll just leave the meter running. And so they go in and then pop back out. And they're like, hey, you want to come in and eat? Like, cool. So I walk in this beautiful, the only way I can describe this house is a mansion. So we walk into this beautiful mansion. And that's when, I noticed that there's a housekeeper there. And the housekeeper was like little bitty woman, little tiny woman. Very thin, very short, and just the most amazing, like, very nice woman you've ever met. And she's trying to feed us, and she's giving us food, and just, and I'm happy. And I made the point to point out, hey, this is fun and all, but the meter's still running. But nobody seems to care. Nobody. Okay. That's all fine and good. Fine. Okay. So anyways, we're going, and then the housekeeper matey type person, I don't know what her title was, but we're gonna say housekeeper because it sounds nicer. Housekeeper, she then realizes that one or more of these young men, I say they're like 23 to 27, they're in their mid-20s, is high as a cat, just poof, gone. She proceeds to throw us out, which is a hilarious thing to just visualize, because here's this tiny little woman, and I am a big boy, and I of course I did not fight back, but she is trying to physically eject us from this house. The best way I can describe it is, imagine you being attacked by a small chihuahua. It's just, so, of course, respectfully, I'm just like, hey, I'm just a driver. Leave me out of this. I'm going by. See you. Whatever. Bye. And in the kerfuffle, we realize that one of the gentlemen leaves his phone in the house. Now, of course, at this point, they're not allowed back in the house. So, we are now driving blind. The phone that initially had set the destinations is stuck in the house where no one's allowed to go because whatever. So, with that being the case, we set out because I can't end the trip or anything like that. And I know that I will get paid for whatever it is I drive and all that stuff. But that still, it still makes a weird, awkward thing where the person doesn't have his phone. So, dude, Mr. Tompkins, is all like, okay, take us to McDonald's. So I take him to McDonald's. And I take a moment to take a whiz, there at the McDonald's. And, again, nobody seems to be in a hurry for anything. At which point, we get back in the car, and one of them says something along the lines of, man, eating this is gonna suck. What? Come to find out, these two gentlemen allegedly were users of, like, I guess, now this is just me and my ignorance, I don't know nothing about drugs, but were users of, meth or something. Where apparently, yeah, it makes, like, eating suck ass. I don't know how all that works. I don't know if I want to know. But, so, now, I am a little bit more on edge. Now, keep in mind, I am a big boy. At no point up to this point have I felt that I was in danger or anything. But from what I do know of meth and meth users, sometimes things can, from what I know, it makes you a little bit unpredictable. So I am worried at this point. Not like seriously worried, but definitely on guard. Anyways, we leave the McDonald's. And, we get about, 10 minutes down the road from there. Ish, I don't know. The friend who left his phone in the thing, he just looks at me and he goes, hey, did you know I have a pet snake? And I'm like, hey, that's cool. You know what? Good for you, man. You got a pet snake. Little did I know, he had a pet snake on him. I'm just like, oh, man, that's really cool. And he just like very slowly, just like, want to see? Pulls out of his pocket, pulls a little garden snake. Not going to hurt anybody. And I know this. In my conscious mind, I am well aware. This Little snake is not gonna do me any harm. But when somebody just randomly shoves a snake in your face, you don't always think logically. That was my phone, not your phone. Just let you know. So dude pulls the snake out and he's like, see? Now I'm driving. And dude puts a snake between my hands and the steering wheel. And I freak for just a second. And I do a swerve because I'm trying to get away. So I do a little bit of swerve and, get back in my lane. This is a moment I will regret for quite some time. I do my little swerve and then I recompose myself, get back in my lane. A police officer happens to see this. He pulls us over. So, I'm just driving along. I see the cop pull up behind me and I'm doing that thing that we all do. Like, oh my God, I hope he didn't see that. I hope he didn't see that. I hope he didn't see that. He saw that. I pull over and I'm waiting for him to come up because this is definitely something I don't want to fully understand. Or I don't want to fully explain. I don't want to be like, yo, these dudes are high as kites and dude just pulled a snake on me. Because if he does, for whatever reason, take them to jail, at that point, if he takes them to jail for being high, I'm not even sure if, I don't know. Anyway, if he does that or whatever, I'm just stuck out in the middle of nowhere, 45 minutes from home, and I just have to kind of deadhead my way back home. Would you look at that? My camera cut off, so I don't know exactly when it stopped recording. I don't want to have to explain to this officer, whatever, because if he arrests them, it's going to be bad for me, and it's going to be bad for them, and you know what? I don't pass judgment. I do not pass judgment on anyone, period. For whatever they do with their lives. And whatever. So I don't want to explain this whole situation. So dude, or rather officer man, comes up to the window. Sir, do you know why I stopped you? Of course I know why you stopped me! Stop that! Of course I didn't say that. I'm like, yes, officer, I swerved back there, but here's what you don't know. And I explained that my passenger decided that he should show me his pet snake, of which I was not aware. And, I explained that, I was caught off guard by the teeny tiny little snake. So, anyway, officer takes my license and registration, kind of giggling to himself a little bit. Like, he was trying to keep himself composed, and I understand that, but that doesn't change the fact that it was just a little bit funny. He comes back to the car and he said, I'm going to let you go with a warning, but in the future, keep your snake in your pants. I thank you, officer. Thank you for not giving me a ticket, which I don't know how. I don't have the money to pay. So I'm driving along, right, and Mr. Tompkins, he's like, okay, so can you take us to the Walmart at so and so and such and such? I'm like, okay. I set my GPS to go to the Walmart at so and so and such and such. And I am set. We get there, and dude's like, Mr. Tompkins, he's all like, okay, so I'm going to go inside, and I'm going to meet up with a friend of mine, and I'll be back. Now, if that sounds odd to you, it should, because I have no evidence, but I am about, 85% sure that dude went in there to go buy illicit drug type things. For me at the time, this did not click to me. I am just like, okay. So he leaves me sitting there for 30 minutes with his friend. So friend and I are talking while Mr. Timkins or whatever is in there. And, I come to realize that a lot of the things that I had suspected while we were on this trip were indeed true. And at this point, I'm like, okay, as soon as dude comes in, I am going, in my head, as soon as dude comes back out, I'm going to take these guys, I'm going to drop them off, and I am going to get done with this. Because at this point, it had been 2 hours. So I kind of wanted to be done with this because I had been snaked. I had been stopped by the police officer. I had been kicked out by a teeny tiny woman, and I was just about done. But I was trying to stay friendly, trying to be nice, because I still want that 5-star rating, because that's really important for us drivers, So, whatever, and about 20 minutes later, guy comes back out. He's like, okay, so I could tell that he was not the same person I was dealing with before. A lot slower. A lot more, I don't know. Mentally, physically, same person. Mentally, he was gone. So something tells me while he was in there, he may have partaken in some drugs. Which put me on resolve to, yes, now I need to get this dude the heck out of my car. Because I don't know, like, up till now he's been friendly, he's been nice, whatever. But, like, I don't want to deal with a wild card. So I'm like, you know, I hate to say this has all been awesome and fun and everything, but I have a prior commitment that I have to make at such and such a time, whatever, blah, 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 blah. So he's like, oh yeah, no, you could drop us off at the place with the thing. Okay, changing the name of the place and the thing for you know, because I don't want to be sued. So anyway, so you take us to the place with the thing. I'm like, okay, awesome. I'm going to take you to the place with the thing. That's about another, I don't know, 10 minutes down the road. 15 maybe. So I take him to the place with the thing. And right, I don't know, before we even get there, maybe about 2 minutes out, he's like, oh no, you could stop here. This looks good. This looks fine. I'm like, what? So what I'm unaware of, and what he tells me as he's stepping out of the car is, yeah, no, we're doing the homeless thing right now. So I mean, this actually looks like a really good place to camp out. As I said before, I don't judge. What somebody wants to do, that's them, that's what they want to do. However, this did lead me to the realization that rather than living in the mansion with his dad and the housekeeper, he, for whatever reason, probably drugs, decides to be homeless in a downtown area, 45 minutes from home. That's the kind of thing that drugs do to you. Living with your pet snake under a bridge, 45 minutes from home, homeless. Ah! And I'm not saying that happens to everybody who does drugs or whatever. I'm just saying in this particular setting, in this case, that is what was up. Yeah. I have a few more of these stories. But that one, this one, the one I just told, this happened earlier this week. Craziness. Anyway, I hope this video's been helpful for you. I hope it's been entertaining. I hope that you have somehow lost less hair than I did during the whole thing, because I was pulling it out. Let me know in the comment section down below if you like this video, if you want to see more of this, yeah, all that stuff. Till next time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and do all those things that make me love my job. Also, be awesome to yourself and amazing to each other. Bye. So here's the part where I don't have an end card for this. So I'm just going to go leave the room. And just going to leave this running for like 19 seconds while this stuff pops up.